Hey guys, welcome to the Strength Solutions podcast. You can find us on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Also, we're on YouTube. Please subscribe and leave a comment down below.
Oh, yeah.
Then you can also find our website, ssempowered.com. We have free blogs, free guides, and programs for their own purchase. If you want to build a booty, check out that blog. Mm-hmm. Then, if you're looking for us on social media, it's Strength Solutions on Facebook, strength.solutions.pod on TikTok, Strength Solutions Empowered on Instagram. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right, we have a special guest here.
Who's this guy?
This guy ran our program. His name is Ethan. And I'll let him tell his story of his risen from the ground.
From the ground up.
And now he's about to go to the heavens with his weight training.
With Strength Solutions. Yeah.
The squat is his altar.
You'll see me kneeling at the squat rack as I'm praying.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
So start from the beginning.
Since I've known you for a long time, I know you since you were a kid. Maybe start with like your running and those days. What happened? The accident that happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, not much of an accident. Well, it kind of was. It could have been prevented. But basically, I played soccer all my life up until freshman year of high school. And so high school, I decided to try out for the soccer team. Didn't make it because I couldn't run. And so I decided sophomore year, cross country started earlier in the year, and soccer was later in the year. So I was like, okay, perfect. Let me join cross country so I can get,
Like
my cardio,
practice conditioning
myself for soccer. Well, I fell in love with running and quit soccer. Not too early on into running, I figured out that there was something going on with my calves. It was just this ache, this numbing pain, this sort of tension, I guess you could say. And for a long time, I just thought it was shin splints. So, parents thought the same thing, or parents just thought it was growing pains. And that was the biggest, I guess, mistake was we thought it was growing pains, and, I'm taller than my parents. So they just thought I was going to keep growing. Yeah. And, they were like, okay, go out there. Here's some compression sleeves. Here's new shoes. Here's new insoles. Make sure you tie your shoes right. Make sure you're planting right, doing all this stuff right.
Such parent things, right?
Yeah, everything but going to
a doctor,
the trainers and stuff like that. And eventually, it just got to the point where I couldn't get past the warm up without my calves being in excruciating pain.
Damn.
And at that point, I was running a sub 5:30 minute mile. I was very, very close to varsity. It was end of my junior year.
Hell, man.
End of my junior year. And that's where Noah's at right now, my little brother. That's where he's at right now. But right before senior year, I was like less than 30 seconds away from making varsity for senior year. And coach was like, you know what, go to the trainer's office real quick. Trainer thought it was shin splints. Trainer sent me to sports med. The doctor was willing to bet his life savings it was shin splints. Wow. And x-rays came back, no shin splints. So next thing was compartment syndrome. Yeah. And so basically we tested for that, and I have this is a whole story, but we go for it. I hate needles. I hate them. And
surprise.
And so basically what ended up happening was for the test, they explained to me that there's a layer of fascia around my calves acting as a sleeve, a compression sleeve that, expands and opens to let blood and oxygen in while I'm running or while I'm even sitting. And they wanted to check the pressure of each 4 compartments of my calf. And so I thought, I walked into the doctor's office and they had needles and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's a little unprofessional. They had stuff from the last appointment. I thought pressure, I'm thinking they put the sleeve like they would around your bicep, around your calf. Yeah. Like they're checking pressure. That makes sense. And he's like, okay, so we're just going to check the pressure. I'm going to numb your calf. I'm like, I don't know how he's going to numb my calf. And so he decides to stick a needle in each 4 compartments on each of my legs. So that's 8 times he sticks it in. And those chicken thermometers that you poke in the chicken and it reads the temperature? That's pretty much what he did with each 4 compartment with the calves. Is he had this pressure gauge, he stuck in each 4 compartments like a needle and checked the pressure of each 4 compartments. So that was
interesting.
8 needles for numbing, 8 needles for resting pressure. So he wanted to check resting pressure and post-workout pressure. Resting pressure is typically supposed to be around 13 to 15, he was saying. I was pushing 30.
Damn.
Just resting. And already he was like, yeah, it's definitely that. But we have to go through the full test. So he was like, okay, go on a run. Like literally just walked out into the parking lot and ran down the street, ran back for a good 15 minutes. That was
crazy.
the craziest run I've ever had because I got so dizzy.
Wow.
Ran back.
Were the needles in the calves when you were running?
No, they're all stuck in. But it felt the numbing was still there.
Yeah.
So it was this weird feeling, and my dad pulled me off the table, and I was dizzy for like 10 minutes straight. Like I could not see straight. It was terrible. And my run, I looked like a madman while I was running. I was like, my eyes were everywhere, and I was like trying my best to run in a straight line. It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And so I came back, again, another 8 times to check each 4 compartments of each leg. And active pressure was meant to be about 30. I was pushing 60 to 70.
Dang.
Jesus.
In each compartment. And so immediately that was like, okay, you need to stop running, either get surgery or stop running because that can cause blood clots. It can cause a lot of issues, cut off circulation because it's just so compressing. And
did he say like if you kept on running, maybe you would have to amputate your leg?
No,
he
didn't go that far.
Oh, I was
that a possibility?
I wonder.
That's a little scary because I did that for a year and a half.
Yeah,
I ran like that for about a year
we
and
should
a half.
find out.
Did they ever say why this happened?
I did ask, and he really didn't give me a clear explanation as to why. He just says it's a really rare condition.
Yeah,
is what he was saying. He, in the 25 years he's been working, doing what he does, he'd only seen it a handful of times.
Wow.
And it's just a sports injury with athletes.
Yeah.
And there's no, I really, even now, I don't know if there's any reason behind it other than, I guess.
I wonder if it has anything to do with maybe like mechanics of running or something like that. Like maybe you're using the calf too much, right? As opposed to using other areas of the leg that could have been part of it. And so the pressure just builds up in the area or maybe it's a circulation issue, right? Too, like where it has to do something with that.
It could be that he's just too swole, bro.
I know.
Just
my calves
too
were
much
too
calf.
Much. I was like 140, 130 when I was running that stuff. There was no muscle on that. That was hold on.
How much do you weigh now?
Right now, I finally hit 173.
Yeah, that's good, man. There you go.
With the thanks to Edwin here, giving me his programs. But yeah, no, it was literally just get surgery or you stop running. And my parents were even like, what happens like if you work and like, cause it would start to happen even if I wasn't running. Like
really?
Just walking around, it would start to, tense up. And so what they had to do was they had to go in and slice a layer, I don't know which layer, but a layer of the fascia from my knee to my ankle. So I can't feel my inside ankles at all.
Okay.
From the scar down, I can't feel the inside of my ankle, which is kind of fun. I don't know. But,
party trick.
Party trick, yeah. Just hit me. Nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. But yeah, that was a weird time.
So they said get surgery. Was that the surgery where they had to slice that layer?
That was the surgery. So I have 4 scars.
Oh, dang. You can really see them on here.
One on each side of the.
We should put pictures on our page.
Oh, we should. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's weird too, because like when I do movements like squats and like calf raises, like it'll like bubble up kind of because it's a weak point in the skin.
Okay.
So it'll start to like bubble up. I've noticed that recently in the videos I've taken.
Interesting.
A little weird. But yeah, no, that was a terrible. That was like I couldn't stand up. I didn't realize you needed to stretch your calves to stand upright. I had no idea up at that point, because this was before I really got into weightlifting and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too endowed in that area as I am now. I like to think.
You're not endowed in your penis either, so.
Come on, man. Come on.
What are we, 10 here?
But yeah, no, like I basically could not stand for a good handful of weeks, maybe even a month or two. I couldn't stand upright for a while without like having to sit there and stretch. I couldn't completely lock out my legs because it put so much strain on my calves.
Damn, wow.
I even had a hematoma. That was terrible. They had to squeeze all that dry blood out like a pimple. I was screaming, and my dad's like, because it started to swell up. So I eventually, after a few weeks, I was able to take off the bandages, and I noticed that this one had a little blood splotch around it. I'm like, okay, it needs time to heal. So a couple more weeks had gone by, and I started to peel, and luckily I got into the tub, and I also have a huge fear of blood, which doesn't help.
Come on, bro. What are you not afraid of, man?
It's like,
well, you ain't gonna get big unless you do steroids, bro.
I guess. I mean, one round doesn't hurt. Actually, funny enough, now I have no fear of needles.
Oh, nice.
Good. Yeah, I was like, I'm
like
looking
after,
at your tattoos, and I'm like, how did you do that?
Because what it was 24 times. What's 8 times 3? No,
24.
24. Yeah, I'm okay. 24 times. I mean, after that, it was like one time isn't gonna hurt me.
Who cares? Yeah.
Now it's fine. But no, I got into the tub just in case because I saw the blood, and as soon as I pulled out that second piece of tape, it just gushed out of my scar.
Cool.
Yeah. Immediately I was like, Mom. And the next day we were in the doctor's office, like, yeah, we're just gonna squeeze it out. And like forced that out of my scar. It was terrible.
Jesus.
I was shaking for hours after. My dad bought me some ice cream. He was like,
There you go. Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't helping, but thank you.
Well, you got ice cream out of it, so you're good.
Yeah,
It was
that's always a good thing, right?
pretty physically traumatic, I would say.
Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy, man.
And
I did not know that it could get that like severe. You know what I mean?
It never dawned on me. I mean, I thought shin splints. Honestly, I thought, worst case scenario, shin splints, I just take a month or two off and get right back to it.
Yeah.
Dude, this is exactly why I sometimes with clients, I'll say like, I think you need to go see a doctor. Like I've recently had someone who may have something that is not structural or physical. It may be neuro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you may need to see somebody. And I think this is a big part of like admitting that you may not know everything and then getting tested and stuff like that. I think that's a good lesson right there.
It
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
Even my parents took it as a lesson because they realized, like, take it serious, because I went and complained a lot. And I was like, it hurts. I can't get past the warm-up. And they were like, it's growing pains.
They could have been like, look at what one leg Ethan there.
Look at him waddle like a little nugget.
Should have done the surgery.
You could have your leg hanging up on the wall
It's a good trophy.
It's a little trophy.
There's my leg.
And if you look over here, on the right side of the room,
It's golden.
you'll see where it all went wrong.
I think you could put a pair of Trump sneakers on there.
The gold ones?
The gold ones, the gold Trump sneakers. That would have been terrible. I really do not know what could have happened if I kept doing that.
That's insane.
the
I
scary
wonder
part.
what does happen. Because I remember seeing people, or I mean, we've all seen individuals who are like maybe older and things like that, who I've seen where their calves are just like tight. Like you could see the skin.
The veins. What's it called?
Yeah.
Varicose
Like
veins.
varicose veins, right? That's a little different, but like I've seen like where the skin becomes like tight.
Like
on
it
the
looks
calf.
like their skin's not elastic enough to allow for the bend of the calf.
And then like the same thing too, where they're kind of in this position where they cannot extend the knee all the way. You know what I mean? And it's like, how many people?
No, I see that.
Yeah, I've seen it a million times. Yeah, and it's like, I wonder if that's part of the conditions of why, and then, most people are just like, well, I'm just getting old. It's those things where you like pass it off and don't really take it serious, like you said.
All right. So we're like now, this is at high school.
Yeah, how old were you when all this happened?
This was right before my senior year, so I was 16,
17?
I graduated at 17.
He's actually the youngest kid, like in his school.
Oh, wow.
I was like one of, if not, because I knew only like one person younger than me. My birthday is August 10th, so I was like right at that deadline. School starts at like August 18th.
So you were like at the
Right
lower end of it.
There was one other person I knew like August.
His mom didn't want to hold him back
12.
for that year.
I guess
so that because she just wanted to get rid of him out of the house.
Get out.
She said, "This boy's the devil."
She was like, he's 17. It's okay.
Take him. I don't care. It's like, no, man, we cannot take. I don't care. I'm leaving.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, I was 16 when that happened. That was summer, and I was right at the end of my junior year, and I had faith that in 3 months I could get back to that 5:30-minute mile.
Like, how many people go around with that mentality? You know what I mean? Of like, oh, it's just an easy injury, or I'll just come back from it. You know what I mean? Like, so many people do this, and they have a real serious issue that they just don't address. You know what I mean?
and they just push it too hard one day, and it just snaps.
One day your leg gets taken off, you know.
You got a trophy on the wall.
Yeah.
And then I know you started getting interested in lifting weights and bodybuilding.
So I got something to say about this, because like I know I'm not as close to you as like Edwin is and everything like that, but it's like I remember I follow you on Instagram and talk to you, here and there and stuff like that, and I remember being like, what's this whole like bodybuilding thing going on? Like when did that become an interest to you?
It was that same year, junior year.
Okay.
Because it was during COVID, and I had nothing but time.
Yeah, all of us did. Yeah.
The best part is that I was one of those kids that went in person while like everybody stayed at home.
Okay.
Biggest reason was because the doctor after the surgery was like, I need you to walk and stand every other hour or every hour. I was like, okay, well, I'm being cooped up at home. There's some people at school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A period is 50 minutes, 50 minutes sitting down, walk around the halls for, 5 minutes.
It was almost like medically necessary.
Yeah, it was basically medically necessary. I mean, it was COVID time, but that was just me. It didn't bother me that much.
I'm just built different.
I'm built like that. So I went back in, and one day, it was literally one day, I was sitting there talking with my friend. I took automotive all 4 years of high school.
Cool.
And I was sitting there, and I just wasn't retaining the information like I wanted to. I was end of junior year, and I was like, man, I was talking to my buddy Trey, and the cafeteria is empty. He's sitting right across from me. And I'm not retaining this the way I want to. I don't think I'm going to be ready, to choose a school, to become a mechanic after high school. And I was getting worried. And he was like, well, what do you like to do? Like, what do you love? What makes you happy? I'm like, well, I love working out, and I just really want to help people as much as I can. He's like, why don't you be a personal trainer? Why don't you open a gym? That moment, I was like, I saw it all laid out for me. And I was like, okay, shit, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, this whole vision was just born. And I even have this old journal where I would just like every single body part of, the back, the chest, the calves, the quads, every single body part, the upper chest, middle chest, lower chest. And then I would have like 5 different exercises for each body part broken down individually, how the striations ran, the look of the muscle. And I wrote and wrote and wrote, did my own programming for a while. And then right after high school, as soon as I graduated, because NASM was either have a diploma or be 18. Like, well, I'm not 18 yet, but graduation's right around the corner. So literally the day after graduation, the day after I had that diploma, sat down with my mom, and we got the NASM pack, certification pack. And 7 months later, by the end of 2022, I had gotten my certification, and that's when that all started.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool, man.
Cool. So I know you did your own programming. How did you feel like your success was when you did your own programming?
I found more success in my programming while I was running. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I messed myself up at the end of 2021. I had stopped running after the surgery. At the beginning of that summer, I was 140. At the end of that summer, I was 150. By the end of that summer to the end of 2021, I was 174. So I'd gained about 34 pounds in 7-8 months, but it was bad. It was bad, like no abs. I mean, my face was round, and just looking straight forward, you could see the chin. It wasn't fat or chunky. It was like a skinny fat.
So you'd put on more body fat percentage
More
than
body
muscle
fat
mass.
than muscle mass,
Yeah.
definitely. And right after that was done, that year, like my gut was just screwed over, because every single day, and I don't know where I had the money for all of this. Every single day for lunch was QT or eating out. And at QT, I would go and get 2 cups of macaroni, an extra large raspberry sweet tea. I know it's sitting there. I know it's sitting there on the desk right now.
We talk about bad food, but cute gas station food, bro?
Okay, QT, QT. Do not get me started.
Like, I'll live and die by it.
It's not even gas station food. That's like a whole restaurant with a gas station attached to it. Okay, that shit's fire.
Whatever makes you sleep at night, buddy.
That puts me to sleep. I'll tell you right now. But yeah, and then I ended up losing about 15 pounds, dropping 15 pounds.
How did you do that? What did you change?
I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't eat anything. My gut was so screwed over that like in the mornings I would have like 4 pancakes with peanut butter and syrup, a bowl of oatmeal, 3 strips of bacon, 2 pieces of toast, and a protein shake. Eat it all up nice and an hour later I was hungry. It got to the point where I could barely go 2 forkfuls of those pancakes or those waffles, and I was like ready to throw it up.
Wow.
So my body was just rejecting everything, and lost a lot of weight because of it. And I had gotten back down to like 160, 155, and I'd been there, for almost 2 years.
Just stuck
hitting that plateau. And I was doing my own regimen. It was changing. And back to that question, it was changing. That regimen was almost the same, changing every now and then. But when I found my most success when I was running, because I would start my half marathon training at 160 and then stay 160, but lean out, like lose a ton of body fat and substitute it with gaining muscle mass. And coupled with the right eating, because now at that point I could only eat rice and chicken or pasta. And
you were almost like forced.
I was forced into it. I was forced into a healthier diet because my body was rejecting everything.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great lesson for a lot of people who like, I want a dirty bulk and I'm going to get real big. Nobody takes in consideration overall health when it comes to bulking, and they end up eating how you're eating like these Pop-Tarts, Nerds, or whatever.
If it fits your macros.
If it fits your macros. And they don't think about the long-term ramifications. It just happened to hit you sooner than maybe another person. Another person may have gone through cycles of bulking and never felt that. And then all of a sudden they start aging and that happens to them.
Catches up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know also that you did another trainer's program. Don't say the name.
No.
Don't say the name.
Sorry. I did. I gotta bleep that out.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That was just a lot of like volume. It was a lot of volume. The goal was to
just kill you.
So I hate to like bring it back, but what was your programming like before? So like when you were doing your own programming, what did it look like? Was it like, were you doing splits? Were you doing full body? Was it
splits? It was the chest, try, back, by, and
the
legs.
bro split. Let's go.
Split. It was the bro split.
Yeah.
The bro split I did for a good year and a half, or I mean, even before that, I would do the bro split because during the summers when we weren't running, I would go work out. But I did the bro split for a very, very long time. There was a point when I was there for 3 hours a day.
Damn.
That's on your own programming.
On my own programming. Because I wanted to do 2 of everything. If it was chest and tries, I wanted to do 2 upper, 2 middle, 2 lower, and then 1 for each head of the tricep, and then I wanted to do abs.
Jesus
and there was one day, Christian was like, dude, how long have you been here?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's been about 2.5 hours. I still got to finish up abs. He's like, dude, what are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it changed into an antagonist split where it was chest, back, bicep, tricep, and then legs and shoulders. And that did help. I did notice a better change with that. I felt a little bit more full.
Yeah.
Because now I was able to hit, when you do chest and tricep, you're sacrificing one over the other. If you want to do a good chest day, you can't blow out your triceps.
Right.
And now with this new split, it was like I could go all out on chest and still have energy and, good feeling in my tricep to, kill it the next day. But that was always my thing, is I was constantly killing it. I was constantly killing everything.
High volume.
And it was the same thing to that program too, was in the app, it was the exercise and then your max weight, what you did, your max weight, your max reps and stuff like that. And your goal was to just hit that as quickly as you could or as hard as you could. And just like that, 2 years just hitting that wall. I was just completely hitting that wall. Now, granted, I was making slow progress in a sense that I was losing body fat, becoming a little leaner, gaining that muscle, but it was like I wasn't getting technically
the results you wanted.
The results I wanted. I wanted to gain weight. I wanted to get bigger.
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense because you are not eating in the way that warrants that high of a volume, right? And I think a lot of people forget that nutrition plays a role in your recovery and building muscle. So your volume actually needs to match what your nutrition and recovery is.
Right, yeah.
And
so
I think that's why this program worked really well for you that we gave you first.
So then you finished, or you had been doing your own training, right? You had been doing that. I'm assuming you were like hitting a wall, right? Yeah. Nothing was happening.
No, literally, like he would put his head against the wall. Boom, boom.
He would also
pissing me that off.
Yeah, he would program in running into the wall 5 times.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then so then you were hitting a wall. You seeked out other programming. You found another trainer. You found different programming. What kind of drew you to that? And then what was that? What was different from that programming that you were like, okay, maybe this will work?
To the
program
that the trainer gave me?
Yes, yeah.
Man, I was kind of like peer pressured into that. That was kind of like, here, I have this for you. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just follow this, I guess.
Yeah.
Good marketing tactic, I guess.
Peer pressure, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Some people sell that way.
Yeah, I mean,
and the people have buyer's remorse.
I think this is a good two good lessons, right? And the first lesson is that most people try and do it on their own, right? Which is fine, right? Sometimes you do have progress. Like you had some progress, right?
Yeah.
It's maybe slower than you would have liked, but you kind of fall into that thing of like, I'm going to do the bro split. I'm going to do this because I want to build muscle. And this is what the bodybuilders do. They're in the gym for 3 hours a day. So I'm going to be in the gym for 3 hours a day, right? And you try and copy this thing, but like Edwin is saying, that recovery, everything about it is so important. And you, like those guys can be in the gym for 3 hours a day because that's their whole ass job.
Yeah,
and they're on steroids, right? They have the ability to recover from something like that.
Because you hear Arnold in his videos and his motivational speeches. I was in the gym for 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, I drank 5 protein shakes a day.
And like us regular guys are like, fuck yeah, let's do that, right? And then, but you're like, you're working a normal ass job and you got a life and I got kids and like, dude, it's not gonna happen. You know,
you don't got kids. You got a kid.
Dang.
Is she pregnant?
Is this an announcement?
I'm gonna get like knocks at the door. Like, I think
you heard it first here.
You're my daddy. No, I ain't.
He yours. Goodbye.
So okay, it's like a thing that people fall into, right? And then you get so frustrated because your program isn't coming along, right? Yeah. So then sometimes you're approached by a trainer, you're approached by a buddy, or you find something on Instagram or whatever it is, right? And you're like, oh, okay, this is it, right? Like this is what's going to save me, right? And then you get stuck in this thing. So then you run this program, and how long were you doing this for?
Ooh, this is a good handful of months.
Would you say like more than 6?
Less than 6. Because eventually I realized like it wasn't helping me that much.
Yeah.
When he showed me the program.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you do the programming. Let's say you ran it for 4 months, 3 months, something like that. What are you getting from it? When you're doing it on your own, are you like doing the programming and thinking like, okay, this is good, this is not good? How are you feeling from it? What is the change that happens?
I think it was definitely a placebo. It was definitely a placebo because it's like I felt like any change was helping.
Yeah.
At that point, because I was so desperate for an answer that I was like, this has got to be helping. This has got to be doing something. And coupled with the fact that, you know, I was still making slow progress. I still saw it as progress. I'm like, oh, this is working now. And eventually I was just like, there's nothing different about this.
So I know you said that the program was high volume, but can you remember like any sort of structure to it? Was it also a split?
It was confusing. It was, I mean, there were like segmented days, like, you know, boulder shoulders or you know, kill the quads and stuff like that.
I love it.
But most days were either
marketing. That's pretty good.
Some weird full body or some weird focus, and it like none of the workouts kind of made sense to me. In a sense of it, like it wasn't structured like
the goal that you wanted
of the goal that I wanted.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I want to go into this placebo effect, and a lot of people, what's crazy is you're going through every phase that people go through.
Yeah. That's what I find so interesting. It's like so relatable.
Years.
So many people get this placebo effect. Like I'm doing keto, I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I'm doing great. And they get this placebo effect. It seems like it's working. My brain's clear, and then it just stops.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
think
crazy.
it's funny too, because whereas it seems like you decided this isn't working, I'm going to try and find something else or bring it to someone I trust or whatever it is. Yeah. Most people I find double down.
Yeah,
right.
It's crazy.
Most people I find double down, where it's like the keto isn't working, I'm going to do more keto, or like I'm not losing weight,
I'm not doing it hard enough.
Yeah, the weight loss isn't working, I'm going to do more HIIT, right? Like I just have to do more and more and more, and it's like, when do you like decide that that's not the answer?
Yeah.
It's not working. Okay, so then you find this programming, it's not really creating the results that you wanted. I'm assuming at that point you bring it to my buddy over here.
Yeah, at that point, I mean, you'd known what I was following, because
we'd known.
Y'all both knew. Okay. Y'all knew.
See, Edwin watches you up close. I watch you from afar.
You're the guy in the windows with the binoculars, writing shit down. Okay, all right.
We know we're going.
I'm gonna have to go scrub this whole ass podcast later. God damn it!
Is that what those cameras were for? Is that why half of them don't work?
All right, new rule.
He's watching the cameras like, yeah, squat lower, squat lower.
Oh my goodness!
Here's that booty back.
Okay, so then you bring it over to Adam, and what does he say?
That's a shitload of volume, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, I mean, it was really his words, like, that's too much volume, man. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And at that point, I didn't know that you had programs or stuff like that. I didn't know if you did.
Yeah, so it took you a little while to like actually open up to our programming.
Yeah. Because it's, so that's a great question too. Yeah. What about it kind of put you off?
Like the other trainer's program?
No, like Edwin's programming, like our programming, right? Like
he just didn't ask, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I had gone back to that, and so it was after that phase of doing that trainer's exercises that I then went back to my split, and then realized again it still wasn't working. So I switched it to an antagonist split, and then again another placebo where it was like I was still the same weight. I was fluctuating between 155 and 160. Mm-hmm. Wasn't getting anywhere, losing body fat, but I mean, there's only so much you can lose before you plateau. And that's where I was before I came to Edwin at the end of last year, because I'd always done hypertrophy training.
Like 3 sets.
That's all I knew. 4 sets of 15 to 12. That's all I ever knew. And my version of strength training was just throwing in drop sets. That was my version of strength training.
He's got through like every phase, right?
It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely by 19 helped me with all these experiences.
Well, I think you're a lot bigger than most 19-year-olds at this point, because you allowed yourself.
Like, that's a great question too, because I'm sitting over here and I'm like, how old is he? Like, because
it's usually the beard that throws everybody out.
It's like, this guy's got kids, man.
But it's good.
I hope not.
I do think this is a good lesson in you are willing to make mistakes that most people are not willing to do.
Yeah, man.
And
I love
that is what made you grow, is the fact that, hey, you don't know everything, but you're going to try to figure this out.
Yeah, the fact that you, number one, tried on your own. Right. Number 2 was open enough to try someone else's programming. And number 3, open enough to ask for help.
Yeah.
Right. Those are most things that people my age can't do.
And I had people come to me like, you have a trainer training you? I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is an area that I'm unfamiliar with. And at the end of my half marathon last year, I told Edwin, I was like, I had asked for your help, and you gave me a book and the programming. Because
wait, what book?
Starting Strength.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Ripito.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had tried on my own. I had tried figuring it out on my own.
Yeah.
I knew after the half marathon I wanted to do my own version of strength training, and I knew it wasn't going to be drop sets. I knew it wasn't going to be 4 sets of 15. I knew it had to be something different, and I was overcomplicating it in my head because I was out of my expertise at that point. Kind of, you tell me anything about hypertrophy and you know that muscle building stuff, I got you covered.
Isn't it funny? I hate to cut you off again, but it's like where you're saying that, I had done the hypertrophy, I had done all that stuff. And it's like most people always, it's funny in the realm of fitness, especially, that when they're trying to figure something out, it's always overcomplicated.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Everybody's like, oh, you got to do this much stuff, and you got to do that, and you got to eat this way, and you got to do whatever. Like today, I was watching an Instagram video, and I forgot.
I literally thought you were to say porn.
So I was on this website, right? And
it's called Hub.
Yeah. Called Hub. I wish I had
I got here.
I wish I had the intro music button so I could do the.
That's how I felt getting on the couch. I was like, "Hi, my name's Ethan. I'm 19, and I've never done this before."
God damn it, dude. It's like, yeah, sure.
I'm so ready.
All professional. Come on.
Then all you need is a picture of 5 guys standing behind us.
At one point, I'm going to clip this video and put the logo behind and then so, yeah, it's just always funny how like people overcomplicate it, right? It's always super complicated when the answer is so simple. And I think it sort of comes from, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, like maybe your thought process was different, but I think it comes from the fact that people are like, that it can't be that simple, because I've struggled so long with it for such a long period of time and tried so many different things. There's no way it could be as simple as this.
There have been people that I've trained who do the PT, do X, Y, and Z, the rehab, the yoga, the chiropractor, the massages. They do all that, and then I show them one exercise that I read from like Rebuilding Milo, or something that I looked
University.
up. Squat University, yeah. And they're like, I don't feel anything. I was like, you beat around the bush.
Yeah.
People like to beat around the bush and, think a massage is going to help, think a chiropractor is going to help. And they use that to overcomplicate it. And they think it can't be as simple as this one exercise.
Right.
Because the chiropractor said X, Y, and Z. The PT said X, Y, and Z. The PT never did this with me.
And I will say, Ethan, like there are good PTs. There are good chiropractors. Yeah. Just to throw that in there. But there's a lot of bad individuals just because.
Just like there are bad trainers, right?
Yeah, bad trainers. Because they have to see you, right? Or they're just not really into it and they're just in it for the money. And when a customer or client, patient really finds someone who's really into it, when they talk to you, it's different. I'm pretty sure when you talk to your clients, it's completely different. They're like, this guy actually cares. Right?
Yeah, I think even my most recent client, she was telling me like with her past trainers and her old coach was just so rude and mean to her, and like,
dude,
I don't understand.
It's funny. I've heard so many like terrible stories. There's another guy. I guess I won't say his name either. I don't know him personally, but I know of him. And dude, like he would like tell people like when the girls would come in, and if they like didn't have like makeup on and stuff, he'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, why'd you show up here like this? Like, you don't care?"
Serious?
Yeah. And it's like insane, dude. And I know this is kind of off topic, but it's just like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? And the same way, like you're talking about, like with chiropractors and or PTs or whatever it is, right? Like, I think the thing is that people don't understand that that's not the answer all the time, right? Sometimes it is. Sometimes you need a team, right? Sometimes you need a network. Sometimes you need all of that working together. But like if you had back pain or this or whatever, right? Like it's a conjunction of all of these things together that end up working, as opposed to, well, keto saved my life or whatever it is, right? Like it's all of these things together that need to be happening.
It was a calorie deficit.
It's because you were starving yourself. It wasn't the selective choice of food.
Yeah. I was having that conversation with someone today, and also the fact that you're talking about how, or Edwin, how you're saying that it's like business, right? I was listening to a clip from one of our friends' podcasts today, and he was talking about that and how like all of these things are built as a business. It's always a business, right? So the chiro is going to keep bringing you back in. The bad trainer is going to keep bringing you back in. You know what I mean? I think sometimes trainers like that are super rude and stuff like that do it on purpose as a way to keep your like self-esteem down, so that you continue.
Like they need you.
They need you, right? And I think that's the difference between like your training, my training, Edwin's training, is not that we don't need our clients, but like we are there to help them, right?
They have to want it.
Yeah,
you have to want the help.
You want them to progress to actually graduate beyond you.
Yeah. Like I say it all the time. Like when I can shake a client's hand and they say, I'm ready to go do this on my own. I got my gym membership. I'm moving or whatever it is, right? Like to me, I'm like, that's success. That is the best where I'm like, I fucking did it.
Versus having clients, for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'd love it. You know what I mean? It's awesome. If they want to continue training with me forever.
And some people just do it because they like having you there. I know you have your handful of clients that just like having you to work out
some of my clients, I think, just like the conversation.
Yeah. It's like, sometimes it can be a therapy too. It doesn't have to always be about the workout.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just talking, getting to, it's the one time they get to see you, I guess.
They like you. You can make sure they work out, and also you can make sure they're lifting correctly. And
yeah.
It's a great thing.
Some people just like to
my
check
philosophy with it is like, it's the same. They're paying you for that service. Why are you going to give crappy service?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you
just
don't want to
makes no
eat
sense,
if McDonald's continuously messes up your order. You're not going to want to go to that McDonald's.
Yeah,
That's a great analogy.
Simple stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's my thing is like, they're paying me X, Y, and Z. I'm going to put in the effort. I'm going to put in the time. I'm going to make sure they enjoy the experience because it's not cheap.
Yeah,
it's definitely not cheap. And to have that crappy experience, I don't want them walking away like, I just wasted my damn money on this dude.
Yeah.
And then that defaces me, that devalues me because then they
reflection
go
of you,
out.
right?
Yeah, it's a reflection of me. They go out and they don't want to recommend. They don't want to, tell you to stay away.
This guy's learned a lot of lessons, man.
Yeah,
He's
learned. I'm amazed, and I know I talked to your father a lot, and I think he's amazed of what you've accomplished. And I know at your age, I would have never done anything that you've done.
Bro, yeah.
Failed that many times. Ask questions. You're way ahead of where a lot of young men are because of that. And so you got to keep that later on in life.
Keep gassing me up like that. It's going to be a different type of video.
Stupid. Okay. All right. Let's get to the most important thing. The program that changed your life. Magnify. Right.
Oh,
okay. When
beautiful.
You saw it.
It was a beautiful experience.
Okay. So when you saw it and you saw on foundational days, there was only like 5 exercises. What was the first initial thought in your head?
This is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I going to go in for 30 minutes just to leave?
Yeah.
And then it was obviously later realized and explained to me that 30 minutes makes a huge difference on those days where I'm kicking my own ass.
Yeah.
And even then the program progressed into those foundational days kicking my own ass because I decided,
because volume was built up properly.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. So like in my own experience too. So when me and Edwin first started this,
he didn't. I wrote Magnify, right? So he ran it also.
I've ran it too, and I remember when I was building the PDF files for the programming, like when I was doing that, all the like graphic design for it and stuff like that.
It's like, Edwin, you're a piece of shit.
I remember looking through all the programming, and I had done programs before that like Edwin had recommended to me or things that I found or whatever, and they were always sort of built around that same thing. Well, like 8 to 10 exercises, 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. They were phased and had all these different things. So I had kind of understood programming for a little while already. But when I remember looking at Magnify and I remember building it on the computer, and I think I texted him or talked to him later on or something, and I was like, I was looking at our Magnify program and I think it like might need more exercises. And I remember Edwin being like, no, and I was like, okay, I mean, whatever. And so I ran it too, yeah. And it was one of the programs that opened my mind to the fact that like volume isn't everything.
Yeah. What was it? What's it called? Thrusters. The thrusters.
Oh, yeah,
dumbbell thrusters with the jump lunges. Only 4 sets or 20 reps or something?
I can't remember. I gotta look at the program, but
I mean, it's a two exercise workout. But oh my God, you do enough volume, it's gonna kick your ass.
The finisher phase.
Yeah. I looked at it, I was like, man, there's 3 workouts. You do it properly, it will kick your butt.
Yeah, because I
feel like a full workout.
I'm doing a program right now, and I've been talking about it off and on the podcast. But one of the days has 3 exercises. The next day has 4. The last day has 3. And it's like, now I look at it and I'm like, hell yeah, this is badass. This looks pretty good.
God.
Yeah. And I think it also has like a mental aspect to it too, where you don't come into the gym and like, you're like, fuck, man, like I'm about to be here for 3 damn hours. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
that was the convenient part.
Yeah, there's a convenience factor to it. It's more like, I don't know, just more practical,
So you're saying I'm a genius?
I'm saying you're a genius, bro. I've been saying this, man.
Yes, dude.
So stretch.
What I want to really say is I really gave you that program not for the foundational days. I really gave you that program for the mobility days. And I want you to talk about the mobility days because I think that's where you saw your greatest progress. And I think that's why your bench has surpassed your bench and back into a almost like regular strength training phase, like that you would see most people, right? Talk a little bit about the mobility days and what you thought about the mobility days.
Honestly, like the mobility days later into the program felt like the most fulfilling days. Like the days where it's like, the day prior I was, destroying my body. I'm sore, I'm tired, and I get to come in. It's like, it's a relaxing thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so nice, so convenient to just free up the body, free up the joints, stretch, and then go into movements. I know you don't like the word, but functional movements.
Fuck that word.
To go beep that too.
There's a button there.
There is one. I don't know which button it is. Hold on, I'm gonna press some of these buttons real quick. I think it's this one. Oh, it's the crickets. No,
that's the crickets. That's the one's going to keep on going for like ever. Turn this down.
But I mean, like, I would have never guessed I would have been holding 85 pounds right over my head, walking 40 yards.
So talking about watching you from afar, right? It was like, it's funny to see your progress through like social media, because like watching you before, it was always like, I'm doing this exercise or these, whatever, like, you're doing general like bodybuilding,
like I just
stuff.
threw out an exercise.
Yeah, something. Or I like when you do your poses. I love when you do that too. It was a lot of those. And then it was like suddenly whenever Edwin was telling me like he had gotten you on the program, I was like, oh, badass. And then I would see you like max 85 pound over, and I was like, God damn. I was like, where did this come from, dude?
I know.
Because then I saw you start building actual real strength. Right. And I think that's one of the things that we learned, right, or that we've heard on other podcasts and stuff, where a lot of bodybuilders, the ones who grow the most, the ones who have the best muscle mass, the ones who have all of that, work out like powerlifters, right? They do, especially at the beginning of let's say it's a year-long stretch, right? Their first like 3 months, they're fucking hitting squats and deads, and they're lifting hardcore, because those are the exercises that have been proven over and over and over again to build large amounts of muscle mass,
Yeah, and it works on your central nervous system. Therefore, when you go into hypertrophy training, you can output more.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, like, on top of that too, like those, the explosive phase too.
Okay, phase 3.
Man, that explosive phase, like jumping in the ice skaters and stuff like that. Oof.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
That agility, that explosive power.
I think one of the things about Magnify that I like too is that it appeals to like all the phases, or at least one of the phases you're gonna like appeal to it, right? Like there's a heavy strength phase, right? There's the agility phase, right? There's the all of the explosive, and then there's like the finisher and all those things. So like in one of those phases you're gonna be like, I'm waiting for that one, to come around and stuff like that. And it's funny because like for me, I just like to do like the normal shit. So like, I'm kind of doing the program. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to fucking jump around and do all this dumb stuff.
Here I am doing bear crawls with the band wrapped around my waist.
Kettlebell,
a 70-pound kettlebell.
Then, you're doing shit like that, and you're like, okay, like this ain't too bad.
That was one of my favorite workouts.
But did it work?
Oh yeah,
it fucking works, right? Yeah.
That bear crawl was one of my favorites. I missed doing that.
Yeah.
There's another layer to the bear crawl that I'll tell you about later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to unlock the ancient techniques.
Keep watching. Keep watching for more information.
So seeing that and like you going through Magnify, what weight did you start at the program, and then what weight are you at today?
Ooh, numbers. Specific exercise, like I'm talking about like your body weight. Oh, body weight. Oh, okay. I was like, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Yeah. Body weight. I started at 160. And now I'm at 173. Okay. And I have not seen those numbers in almost 2 years.
Go ahead.
Again, like watching through social media, I saw the post you made about that when it was like a side-by-side picture, I think it was. And you talked about the QT macaroni and shit like that. And I was cracking up at it because I was like, God damn it, Ethan.
You could tell the difference, right? He looked all inflamed.
Yeah, dude, but you could tell a difference because I think you were at the same weight in both pictures, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was crazy because I was like, damn. And this is another conversation to have about like how body composition is different and how 200 pounds on me is going to look like 200 pounds different on you and et cetera, stuff like that, right? But it was crazy just to see the difference of like proper programming and nutrition versus like dirty bulk and being in the gym for 3 hours, right? What most people do.
What's crazy is the other one took less effort.
Yeah. The other one was simpler, right? Less effort. Like you said, you probably felt a lot better throughout the whole programming and stuff like that. Because we didn't even talk about how you physically felt right during the like bodybuilding phase of your programming because you know, like I've done it, you know, my brother's done stuff like that, and we're always like, dude, you just feel fucking wrecked at the end of it, you know?
Dead.
Yeah.
And like mentally it was like I looked in the mirror and I was like, I've never felt chunky fat. Like I lost my abs, and oh my God, I was looking the other day, I was like, I used to have beautiful abs. I had the best pair of abs.
Whoa. This is about to be a different kind of video
boy.
too.
But you know, I was 150, you know, lean. And then, you know, going up to 174 of just macaroni and donuts. And, you know, I would go around and people noticed I had gotten bigger. People, you know, from that I'd known since the beginning of high school, all of a sudden now see the scrawny kid who ran fill out his shirts and
he's up steroids.
Yeah.
People thought I was, and I was like, no, I'm just, you know,
it's just eating. Badass program by Strength Solutions here.
and you know,
just living empowered.
And I remember seeing photos, like I would look at the side of my face and it was like round, and like my belly was just, you know, pudgy, and I had little man boobs.
We call them moobies. Moobies. Yeah.
My chesticles. And it wasn't good. And I remember feeling like just exhausted all the time because I would always do it before. I would wake up at 4:00, get to the gym by 5 so I could work out before school. And of course, those were again like 2-hour workouts. Or you know, at most.
That sounds some high schooler shit, bro. Yeah. You can catch me at the gym at that time.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
With the tripod and the pajamas.
God damn it.
Ready to take up the squat rack for 3 hours.
So he won't tell you this, but he showed me his body percent fat. And all the way he gained 8 pounds of muscle.
Okay.
And 4 pounds of fat.
Wow.
Right. And people don't realize he's actually at a lower body percent fat. Than when he started.
Because of the higher muscle mass.
Mass. So people don't understand, like, when you're gaining weight, quality of tissue is what matters.
Yeah. I talk to people a lot about that too, about like how body composition is different than weight on its own, right? Or BMI or all those other kind of factors and things like that, where I'm like, you got 2 ways to reduce body fat percentage, right? You could build muscle, or you can try and maintain muscle and cut weight, right? Yeah. And when you're just starting out working out or any of those things, I promise you one of those is going to be easier than the other one. And it's going to be building muscle mass, right? And when you build muscle mass like that, yes, of course, you might put on a little bit of weight, but the amount of muscle mass that you put on is going to change the ratio of your muscle mass to body fat percentage, right?
Yeah. I think right now, I don't trust it that much. I was saying like 6.2%.
No, you're not.
No, definitely not. I think it feels more like
bioelectric impedance, so it depends on water and stuff like that. I mean, there's another person who tells me their body percent fat is this, and I'm like, it's not.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why you just got to keep on measuring. You go based off the trend.
And that's what I was looking at.
What do you think he's at, Edwin?
What do I think he's at? I think he's probably around 10%.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I was literally going to say 10%.
And so one client was like, how do you know he's at that percentage? I was like, I've seen enough bodies. And I was like, the leaner someone is, the easier it is for me to guess their body percent fat. And we have a common friend, bald guy, really fit. He would come in every time we get a measurement, when am I? And I would literally be like 0.5 off or something like that.
Yeah.
But I know you're running our new other program now.
What is this?
Intensify.
Oh, okay. You got to love this one, then.
You're going to love this one. And I know you already started, and it takes more time, right? Because it's more like traditional bodybuilding, but full body splits.
Full body,
And you were asking the other day, well, can I throw in a mobility day versus a focus day? And I said, that's okay, but you still need a focus day, like one day.
You know, I was wondering about that. Like, I'm already killing my full body 3 days of the week. Like, I understand, because I read through it. I read everything, and I was like, okay, a body part that's lacking and stuff like that without burning it out. But I guess I kind of already know the answer.
What's the question? Because other people might not know
for
the
the
answer.
people,
Right.
Like, what does doing that focus? You know, even if there's an imbalance, even if it's lesser, like, what is it doing that the 3 other days aren't doing?
So with the 3 other days, you're doing at a like 90% intensity, 90% intensity. So those are foundational days, right? So what you're doing is adding more frequency. So a lot of people talk about just intensity when it comes to building muscle, but you can actually build a lot of muscle with frequency. Yeah. And so it allows you in a safe environment to help facilitate recovery and send another signal to the body to raise testosterone and build more muscle for that tissue area. So the best example of this in society is construction workers or plumbers, like with their forearms, they use them every day at a high frequency, but their intensity is not high, but they have the best forearms. Back in the day, mail carriers had the best calves. So they just walked every day, did steps every day. It wasn't at a high intensity, but they would have the best calves. Yeah. And so it's using the frequency principle instead of the intensity principle.
Right. Because you like the principles of it are like frequency, intensity, time, and type, right? Yeah. Or I like to say tension instead of but whatever.
Type is supposed to be
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's super old. We've been using that for fucking
But there's
forever.
like 9 ways to build hypertrophy.
Yeah,
right?
because
I
think
that's the most confusing thing is people just think about progressive overload in weight, but there's progressive overload in range of motion, frequency, the amount of tension you put on a muscle. So there's different ways to get it.
Right. And so, yeah, I think you're going to like intensity because because I think it matches more what you're doing in the past. Yeah. And I bet that's going to feel more like
feels very traditional.
Comfortable. Yeah. Man, I haven't ran a program like that in a long time. I should go back and run those.
Dude, he hit records though. In his
first
phase.
Saw, bro. Yeah, I saw that too, man.
In the first phase, I don't think I'd ever touched that for like my squat. What was it?
275?
275, I think it was. Yeah. And that's without a belt or straps or anything. That's like just natural. And I was thinking the other day too, I'm like, I could probably hit 300 if I just wore a belt.
Yeah.
Probably,
Maybe. Maybe that's just wishful thinking.
No, a belt helps a lot. If you learn how to properly can out on a belt.
A belt is different, right? Yeah. So my brother just started using belts recently.
Cheater. Is he scared because you're catching him?
What do you mean because I'm catching? No. Because, well, you know what? The other day we were talking.
Oh, he's scared. Gabriel, you're scared.
We were talking because we got Max's this Sunday, so I'll be talking about that on the next podcast.
Shit.
Yeah, just hardcore. That's the whole podcast. I should have him call in then. I'll talk to him. Yeah, we were doing that, and I was showing him some of the numbers that I had, and he was like, "Man, you're beating me on like a lot of them. I can't remember which ones it was, but the one that I can't catch up to him on is deadlift, bro. Because I was talking about Beto and Jesse the other day.
He's got weak hands.
Yeah, I got weak baby hands, man. I can't fucking do it.
Okay, ask him about the podcast we did with Beto and Jesse. Everything they said about forearm growth, I literally have told Nathaniel to do, and he just does not listen.
The rice and the
rice bucket. Do it in different angles.
I need to do this.
The one thing that they talked about that you've talked about too. Switch to the left hand sometimes.
It doesn't even feel like it's you.
It's like a stranger.
It's a best friend.
What they were talking about too that I thought was really cool, and this would probably be redundant when this episode comes out, but working different areas of the hand. So working like these parts of the fingers, working those parts, working the lumbrical parts, and then working full grip and et cetera and stuff like that, and working all the way around. Honestly, bro, I'm going to be real honest with you. I think that I have a mental block. The other day I hit 295 on deadlift, and it was just like, boom, up, down, easy. And even Camille was like, damn, that looks super easy. And I was like, what the fuck? That was awesome. So that was my previous max on 295 on deadlift for conventional, just hook grip. And so the other day I was at the gym, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try 300, right? Like, come on, bro, got onto it, grabbed it, and it was all, right? And I was like, God damn it. And I was like, there's no fucking way that I can hit 295 that easy. And then 300 is like impossible. And so I think that I just have like a mental block. So when I go in, do it. But good shit, man. Great job, Ethan. You've made so much progress, man. I think not only as an individual, but I also hope that this is a testament to like maybe not only fitness in general and how it changes you as a person, but just like growing as like an individual, growing as like a man. Like, dude, you've made a lot of progress, man. And like I said, watching from afar, it's been like, I'm just proud of you, man. Like, you just made so much progress and you've changed your thoughts on things. You've gone through the hard shit, you know, in some aspects, you know what I mean? Yeah, dude. And I think that you have a lot of potential, a lot of progress, and I'm super excited to see like where you go.
I'm just glad to have the right guides, honestly.
Thanks,
like,
man.
To have y'all here and to have y'all support me and try and lift me up like that too is like that system of support. You can't do it all on your own.
Yeah, you can't.
And that's the biggest thing too, is like I wanted to do everything on my own, and
you
know when I'm outmatched.
You remind me of me. You know, I think everybody can kind of relate to like young guys, you know, at least at some point. I was very much the same way. I remember having conversations and being like, oh, like I love that I'm not asking for help. Like I love that I'm, you know, struggling and trying on my own. Yeah, and I'm like,
struggle's what builds you.
Yeah, what a dumbass thing to think, dude. Like now I'm like, oh, this is too fucking hard. I'm gonna go ask for help. Like,
yeah, that's what it is. Because I mean, I wouldn't be here if I didn't go up to Edwin and be like, dude, I need help.
Yeah.
And even the books, the books, the programming, just those random questions. Even though it sounds silly, like I've had to learn over time. It doesn't matter how stupid the question sounds.
Yeah.
If you don't ask the question, you're never gonna know.
You're never gonna know.
And just I'm grateful that I don't like to toot my own horn, but I'm just grateful I wasn't raised to have like an ego to where I cannot ask for help. That I need to be that person that's like, I need to do it on my own.
Yeah.
You know, if I get help, it's wrong.
I think as guys, we all think that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's just that mentality that you have to break through as well. That the whole pressure of society, get deep there. The pressure of society that holds us down, that puts the weight on our neck and tells us not to get up.
Good shit, man.
Yeah, I think this is a great place to end the podcast. It was great to hear from you, Ethan. Guys, if you want to check us out, remember we're on Apple, Spotify. You can rate us, review us, and we're on YouTube. Please comment down below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, tell your friends. Then if you're looking for a website, it's ssempowered.com. We have free blogs, free guides, and the programs that this guy just run.
Oh, yeah.
Then also, if you're looking for a way to email us fitness questions, it's strengthsolutionsempowered@gmail.com. And then on social media, Strength Solutions for Facebook, strength.solutions.pod for TikTok, Strength Solutions Empowered for Instagram. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys, what?